Al, it is Christmas.
Christmas!
Legitimately.
Yeah, legitimately, it is Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas or whatever holiday you decide to celebrate. Or if you don't celebrate any of them, have a. I
Have
hope
a
this
good
is a nice
Saturday.
Saturday for you. But hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA, the Holiday Special.
Ba-ba-bum!
I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Lady M.
Hello!
And we're just gonna gather by the fire, gather by the tree,
Mm-hmm.
open up some presents, and bestow upon you a gift of our own.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean it's our holiday episode where we try and talk about something Christmassy related-y.
At least in a tangent,
In a
yes.
tangent, yes. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a full-on Christmas. The media we're talking about is full-on Christmas, but we work it in as much as we can.
Yeah.
But this year, however, we got a full-on Christmas episode of an anime for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the goofiest and dumbest episodes of this particular series.
It is. There are already some goofy episodes in this because they kind of crank it up to 11 in some of the ways that they portrayed things.
Mm-hmm.
But this is legitimately one of my favorite episodes because it's just so funny and how it's framed, how it's just everything about it, how it's written, it's just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. Even the audio sound effect is hilarious.
It is a comedy of errors.
Yes.
And it's just real good and dumb. Yes, we were discussing episode 8 of Persona 4 The Golden, the animation, entitled Not So Holy Christmas Eve.
I bet Shakespeare would have liked this episode.
Oh, I can imagine. This episode aired on August 28th, 2014. Not necessarily a Christmas time frame, but
No.
this entire series is very strange
Yes.
in terms of how it is aired and presented, I should say. Persona 4 The Gold... take two. Persona 4 The Golden, the animation, which is a mouthful,
Yep.
debuted on July 10th, 2014, ran all the way up through September 25th, 2014, was a sequel to Persona 4 the animation,
Mm-hmm.
and basically took all of the stuff from Persona 4 Golden, all of those extra bits that were added into the Vita version of that game, and made an anime out of it, but also really didn't make a chronological anime that you could watch without any knowledge of Persona 4. Because essentially it's just, here's the first episode, which is the beginning of the game, and then we're just going to bounce around to all this new stuff, and hey, I guess you're along for the ride.
I've seen people say that it's basically like a new game plus, that's how he's doing this.
Yes.
And that makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
And how the anime itself is portrayed. I you know what? I believe it.
I would like to see someone come up with like a machete cut of this and the original,
Oh,
of
that'd be
just
great.
like putting in the golden stuff and where like it would have fit in naturally within like the context of the game, so like you actually have a full on experience
Mm-hmm.
with both shows, which I would assume that's probably pretty easy to do.
Probably.
Yeah, because I know like the Christmas stuff I don't think is in the original game. I could be wrong, but I know this episode in particular isn't in the original anime for sure. And then a lot of
But
the stuff coming afterwards is not in the original game.
I don't think it was in the original game because there's a time skip.
Yeah. Because
And
this episode essentially takes place right after the whole stuff with Adachi goes down.
yes.
Because they very briefly bring that up in the episode itself. So it kind of gives you a good time frame of like, okay, here's where this is, here's what's happened, and here's what everyone's doing.
Mm.
So yeah. I don't believe this ever got an English dub. It got released on home video, but it was like extremely expensive
Oof.
because it was like an Aniplex release, and those are usually just absurdly overpriced.
Right.
Similarly to how the Persona 3 movie was.
Yes, those were very expensive.
But it
Can confirm.
is on streaming, I think, in a variety of places. Like you looked it up, it was on Funimation, it's on Crunchyroll, might be somewhere else that's has anime, but is still readily available
Mm-hmm.
out there if you wanna watch it. Have an interesting time with it. But yes, this episode is just so wild. I have written about this episode quite a few times on various like Christmas wrap ups, and it's like every time I think of like Christmas episodes, I'm like, this is the one you have to look at because like it's just so dumb and goofy and just it's just so funny.
It's super funny. And like honestly, it doesn't even have to be a Christmas episode to tell this story, but the way that it is set up is just so great.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I mean, do you ever just like think that somebody asked you on a date, but then think that you might actually just be getting murdered instead?
It's such an escalation.
It's such an escalation. It's basically like the personification of having generalized anxiety disorder. That it's like, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen right now? Okay, I'm gonna get murdered. Cool, let's go with that.
And everyone I keep running into keeps making this whole thing more and more realistic than like, oh, this is really happening.
Yeah.
Oh man, this episode is something.
It's so good.
It's really something.
We even get like a martial arts movie with Santa in it.
Yeah, it's real good.
It's real good. It's like Jack Santa
Just shirtless Santa.
for some reason.
Look, sometimes
I mean,
it's
I
the only
guess why
Christmas
not?
movie you got.
You know what? It makes the most sense.
Martial arts Santa.
Hilarious.
Oh man. So yeah, let's talk about this episode.
Yes.
Because this is still a 24-minute episode, so it's not going to make this a very long episode in general, but, you know, that'll get you out back to your family, and you can, you know, converse with them if you want to, or you can just re-listen to this on repeat and act like you're like, yeah, totally,
Mhm.
thanks, grandparents, aunts, uncles, parents, nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, I totally agree with your politics here, yep, fun
God.
story.
Oh God. Oh God. Or you could just go watch this episode after you listen to us like talk about the episode, and
Yeah, you could do that
like,
too.
remind yourself how great this episode is.
Put those AirPods to use or whatever you get for Christmas. I don't know. Are AirPods still a thing that people want for Christmas? Probably. I don't know.
How
Either
would I
way.
know? I'm not hip.
I mean, neither am I. Just look at the things
Rip.
I'm getting for Christmas. So anyways, we begin this episode. It is the day, it's like a day or two before Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And they are still in school because, you know, got to get those academics in before the holiday.
Yep.
So Yu is going around to all the gals and is like, hey, are you free on Christmas Eve? They're like, oh, I don't know. He's like, all right, cool. Keep that date open.
Yep.
And just goes around to each and every one of them and it's like, does that. And then he goes back to the boys
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, all right, cool. We're going to have this Christmas party. He's like, yeah, I invited everyone.
Yep.
The thing about Yu, though, is because he is
Yes.
he just tells them, hey, keep this date open. All the girls. Doesn't mention, hey, we're doing a party.
Nope.
He just makes it seem like, oh, I'm inviting you over to my house for Christmas Eve. Just
And Christmas
you.
Eve is like a date day for
Yes.
like Japan.
So all the girls are thinking that, and Yu's is like, yeah, we're going to have a fun party. And the guy's like, yeah, fun party.
And they're like, is he going to confess his feelings to me? How do I feel about him?
And he's just oblivious to this whole thing. So the boys go to Juness and stock up on food.
Mm-hmm. A lot
And
of food.
Teddy
Teddy's
is
throwing
just-
so much food.
Teddy's just throwing all of the food in there because he's a menace.
Yes.
Also, I feel like it would be remiss to tell you that I want you to imagine the voice of Teddy,
Mm-hmm.
and then place that in our sister podcast, Jared and I Watch, as Inuyasha.
Wait, is he Inuyasha? I thought he was somebody else.
I said he was Inuyasha.
Ah.
Just high pitched Kagome.
Amazing.
It's something.
Well, and then Yosuke opened his mouth and was like, "Oh, hi, Impy. Hi, Impy Barbicane." Literally, he uses the same voice for both of them.
His voice actor really just loves that voice.
Yeah, he does.
And it's just like, oh, yeah, this is that dude.
I've heard him do other voices, but like that's his kind of default one.
Yeah.
But literally the whole time that Yosuke's on there is like, that's just Impy.
Mm-hmm.
That's just Impy. That's what that is.
It's real good.
It's real good.
So yeah, they're out getting food, and this is where they have a talk about the stuff with Adachi and everything.
And not letting the girls in the kitchen.
They do not want to let the girls in the kitchen because they do not want Mysterious Food X the second reckoning.
Mm-mm.
That would be very bad.
Nope, not a good way to spend your holiday.
So they're like, how are we gonna do this? We're just all gonna come together and make the food ourselves, and then we'll invite the girls, and then everything will be a-okay.
Yep.
And they're just like, yeah, totally, this is gonna be fine.
Yay!
Except Teddy is buying everything. They're like, stop buying everything. What are you doing? He's like, ah!
So much food.
What do you mean? So after that, we basically get a little sequence, a montage of all of the other girls getting ready for what they think is their date. Chie is watching her Christmas movie, which is the Kung Fu Christmas movie.
Yes.
Which is she's like, this is the only thing Christmas related I have. This isn't helping me.
Nope. It's great.
She's watching this on DVD and then starts flipping through the channels, which I don't understand how that works.
Oh, you're right. Huh.
She's got that weird TV. And then she finds like this ooh, how to spend Christmas with your lover. Buy our magazine for fashion tips. And she's like, fashion tips? And she goes to the magazine store and then she's going to get it, but someone else is going to grab the magazine too, and it's Yukiko.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, what do you need this for? Oh, there's a thing about meat in it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What about you? Kimonos in there. Yeah.
Wow. What a versatile magazine. There's meat and kimonos.
And then somehow Yukiko gets the magazine.
Yes.
She's like, I guess here you go. And then Yukiko has her thoughts like, how does he feel about me? Does this mean would he take over the inn? He would have to do a lot of training, but he can cook really well, so this would work out really well.
I just love that there's like a little scene in her imagination of him with like a knife that's like, here you go. I think he calls it like mistress or something.
Yes.
Like, whoa.
She's like, oh, yes, he could fit this very well.
Yukiko, wow. I don't mean to king shame or anything, but like, come on.
It is Yukiko. She is like the weird one of everyone.
It's true. It's true.
Rise is just being Rise, just trying to pick out clothes, and it's like, oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be so nice.
Do I go cute? Do I go sexy? How do I appeal to him? I
should have asked. Dang it.
I need to cook for him so that I can win his heart.
Yep. And then Naoto.
Yep.
And then Naoto.
And then Naoto.
She's just in a cafe, hanging out, stirring her coffee, and just like, what does this mean? I should use my detective skills to figure out what this means. I mean, maybe it's a date thing, but also, what if he's trying to get me alone so he can just stab me in the back and murder me?
Yep.
And then she just spills her coffee over. It's just like, oh my god, what am I going to do? And the
waitress is
like,
like, are you okay? Ma'am, please.
So Naoto leaves the cafe and runs into Yukiko, who's like, got stuff. She's got her gifts, I guess, for tomorrow. And she's like, oh, hey, what's up? And then drops her bag of stuff, and a knife falls out, and Yukiko's like, or Naoto's like, what's that? Yukiko's like, nothing, don't worry about it. And Naoto's like, oh my god, she's going to team up with him, and they're going to kill me. This is happening.
I love that Yukiko got him a knife for Christmas.
She got him a knife from the weapons dealer.
Yeah.
Which is even better. So Naoto continues on her journey and she's like, I need to eat something. I'll get my head straight. So she goes to the beef bowl place.
Yep.
And inside there is Rise. And she's talking to Aika. And she's like, hey, help me cook, learn how to cook. I don't know how to cook. And Aika's like, I'm just a delivery person. I can't teach you how to cook. She's like, oh, please, I need to learn learn to cook something that'll knock him out in one blow. And as Naoto walks in, like, knock him out in one blow. Oh no.
She's in on it too.
And then she just leaves, and they look like, huh? What's going on?
I love there's like a menacing shot that they have of like Yukiko and Rize with knives behind
Yeah.
her at one point.
And then Naoto goes over to like the little food place that's on the main street,
Mhm.
and just like sitting there, just like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Oh god, they're going to kill me. I'm gonna go there tomorrow, and they're gonna murder me.
Gotta get straight up murdered.
This is all the circumstantial evidence is piling up. They're going to kill me tomorrow. It's like, what are you thinking?
Wilden.
What are you doing? My god. Either way, we jump to Christmas Eve, and Yu is in the kitchen.
Oh wait, what about the Chie thing? Did that happen at like before then, or
The
with the
Chie
Chie
thing.
phone? She
Oh,
calls
you're
Chie.
right. Naoto calls Chie when she's at that food place at the end, and she's
Mhm.
like, I'll call Chie. She'll know what's up. And then Chie is still watching her movie, and Chie's like, hey, what's up? And then in the background you hear, kill me, kill me, kill me
Please
already.
kill me.
And Naoto's like, ugh! So Naoto thinks that sounded like Kanji, so she's like, oh god, they're already killing Kanji. This is I'm definitely dead. I'm dead. They're gonna murder me.
And it was Santa.
And she is like, huh?
Huh?
Whatever. Must have been a misstyle. So yes, now we jump to Christmas Eve. And Yu's in the kitchen. He's cooking all that food because there's so much food. And he gets a phone call from Teddy. He's like, hey, Yosuke and I are at Junes. We had to come in because some kids called off. We got to do all this. We can't help you come prepare the food, but we'll be there for the party. Don't worry. I'm going to send you some helpers to make sure you get things done. And Yu's just like, okay. I'll trust you with this, Teddy. And then also he mentions that Kanji's in the hospital because his mom threw out her back. So he's taking her there, and then he's going to be back as well for the party, but he can't help.
Yes.
So he was just like, all right, I guess I'm just going to do this. Also,
Oh,
I
no,
forgot some
I didn't
stuff.
get a fish.
Yep, and then here comes Rise, who's just like, oh man, I'm so excited. Da-da-da. And then you just hear her go, Mateo. And then Kiryu's like, Oi, Norokami.
I mean,
Boom,
he
boom.
does. He calls his uncle Oji-san, so it fits.
Yes.
It fits.
So Rise shows up and is just like, Senpai, I want to go see your room. And he's like, huh? What? Why did Teddy Teddy send Rise here? She's not going to help us cook. What's going on? And she goes through this whole spiel like, oh, I wanted to get you something nice, so I'll get you whatever you want. And he's like, hey, would you go shopping for me? Give me this fish. And she's like, huh? 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 I believe Chie's next.
Yes.
Chie is also going through the whole thing. And she's like, I gotta tell him his feelings for when the party starts. So she walks in and is like, oh, I wanted to get what you were feeling about this. And he's like, hey, great job, great timing. Could you go out and pick me some tomatoes real quick? And she's like, huh? And then Yukiko shows up, who's just like, meanwhile, Yu gets a phone call from Joseph Joestar, who's like, hey, Nanako's out of the hospital. Or she's not out of the hospital. She's going to be able to come home starting tomorrow for a little bit. But also, we need like a change of clothes for her. Can you come bring that real quick? And then he goes, oh my God. And then he was like, I got you. So Yukiko shows up and she's just like, da 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 da. And he's like, great timing. I need you to go watch the pot. Don't do anything. Just watch the pot. I will be right back. And runs out. Yep. And she's like, huh? She looks at two different pots, and one's on the burner, one's on the table, and she goes to the one like, I guess that's the pot he wants me to watch. And she just pulls up a chair and just sits in front of it.
And that's what I love about it, is that Yukiko actually just sits right in front of it so that she can diligently watch this pot.
And then falls asleep.
Yes.
Because she's like, I didn't sleep a wink. So while that happens, Ai shows up because she is the first helper that Teddy actually sent.
Yes.
And she's like, she's about to open or go to the door. Like, I think she's ringing the doorbell, and no one's answering because Yukiko's asleep. She's the only one in there. Chie finishes up with her tomatoes and is like, all right, gonna go bring these inside. And then like a butterfly or a moth flies under her nose. She's like, What's the logical thing to do if a butterfly or a moth flies onto my nose? Just
I
wave my
mean,
hand in front of it and get it off me? Or throw a tomato in the general direction?
which throwing it in the general direction would be at your nose, so
She just
that makes it
eats
even
it.
worse. She
So
does.
she just eats it and smacks I right in her coat, and then I just like, Chie. She's like, sorry. So those two bust in to the house, just yelling at each other. Yukiko eventually wakes up and is like, Chie, what's going on? Rise comes back with the fish,
Giant salmon.
and basically I and Chie are about to have a go at it, and then Chie drops the tomatoes. Yukiko, in her sleepy state, trips and bumps the table, knocking the sauce over. Rise falls and slides on a tomato and falls, and they're all just down on the floor. This is when Naoto's showing up.
Covered in red substances.
Yes. Naoto's showing up in a riot helmet, a flak jacket, and a police baton. Very convinced she is going to be murdered. She comes
into this.
Yeah, she comes into this and is also like, hey, remember when I dated Majima? That was real weird and never brought up again. Anyways. I gotta get her dumb voice actor connections out of the way.
I love it.
Because there's a lot of those from these characters. There's a lot of good voice actors from this game. Either way, Naoto shows up and like sees the doors kind of like it's been open. It's not locked. She's like, that's weird. Pulls it open with the baton, then sees the chaos inside as she walks through the shoe stop, and sees everyone on the ground. There's red viscous liquid everywhere, and she's like, "Oh my god, they're going to kill me! They've already done it." And then Yu walks up behind her and is like, finds a knife on the floor. Is like, why is there a knife on the floor? And then she turns around and is like, "Oh no!" And then everyone starts to wake up, and they're like, "Ugh," and she's like, "Wah." And then we just cut to the next day, and Nanako's there, and they're having the party.
Yep.
And they're like, and Dojima's just like, hey, sorry about that you guys couldn't have your party yesterday. My bad. And they're like, Yukiko and Chie are like, no, it's okay. We know some stuff came up. We had to postpone anyways. And just like pitching you, kicking him. All the girls are. And he's just like,
you just taking
this is fine.
Poor boy.
Nanako's like, what's wrong, big bro? He's like, nothing. It's all good.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Teddy gives Nanako a mini teddy.
Yep. Made of real bear fur. Bear fur because he likes to be authentic. Mm-hmm. He likes to keep it real.
So they have their little Christmas party now, but Nanako's there as well. So it's the whole gang's there. And then we cut to New Year's Eve, where they get to celebrate New Year's Eve. They skip the New Year's Day event, which is just basically you go to the shrine with a lady or with the guys.
The boys.
If you didn't. Which is a shame they cut that out because that's a fun scene as well.
Yeah.
We get like the following day afterwards where you and Nanako build a teddy snowman, and then you get sick.
He sneezes at the end of the snowman.
Everyone's very upset. It's like, oh no, our ski trip's going to get canceled. And Teddy's like, no. I will stay here and help him be good again. And they're like, okay, well, we should get him to bed. And Teddy's like, wait, what do you mean? The Kotatsu is where you go if you're chilly, right? This is fine. And they're like, oh god, how are we going to keep you with Teddy? This is not going to end well. Yu has a dream about Marie, who's, I think she like disappears after the events of the Adachi stuff, after they beat that boss, right?
That sounds right.
And basically she's like, oh, don't forget about me. And Yu's like, who the heck was that?
Now I'm crying.
But this basically sets up into the Marie dungeon arc.
Yeah.
And the ski trip and all that sort of stuff.
But
that is this episode. Also, that's the next episode that would be in this series is the one I have the storyboard papers for.
I need you to mimic the Santa sounds during the cuts.
Ho.
There you go.
Ho, ho.
While it's setting it like setting up the whole episode and the like series of unfortunate events that happens here. Like every time that cuts to some new scene, it does that.
Ho ho.
And it's great. And I love it so much.
It's so goofy.
What a
Also,
good episode.
yeah, I did like how the eye catch is the Christmas costumes you can get in the game
Yes.
with the first years. Also, we were treated to the second Persona 4 animation opening for this episode alone,
Mm-hmm.
which is Key Plus Words, and that episode is, or that opening is a banger.
I love Key Plus Words.
So I was like, oh, we're getting this. That's amazing. I am happy. Like the other opening's fine, but like Key Plus Words is just
it's really good.
goated.
Really, really good.
It's really good.
I love Key Plus Words.
But yeah, this episode is just a menace.
It's hysterical. It's so good. And
so,
honestly, like it's the best way to have covered the Christmas events,
yes,
in my opinion.
Just make you an oblivious person, which he already basically is, and then just make it into just a giant calamity whole mess.
Yep.
A comedy of errors. What a good episode. What a good way to spend Christmas. By thinking your friends are going to murder you.
Showing up in riot gear.
Riot gear. I do love how Naoto has all of this stuff on, but also is dressed up underneath it all, where she has like a bolo tie and like a nice shirt and jacket and everything.
It's like if she confirms that she's not going to get murdered, she's planning to take.
She's ready to party.
Oh my god. Imagine having to explain to everybody after all this, like, yeah, so I thought you were going to murder me. Like, that had to have been a very interesting conversation.
Oh, I can imagine. Everyone's just like, all right. I'm sure. I can see how all of those scenarios would have led up to you thinking that. Okay.
Oh my god.
What a mess.
It's amazing.
Oh man.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yep, that is for true. What a good episode.
What a good episode.
I'm glad we picked this after I remembered it like what 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to figure something out.
Like rewatch everything.
Yeah, we were trying to figure something out, and I was like, oh wait, that Christmas episode exists, and I don't think we've ever talked about it in full. That's an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be very fun. Oh man. And then I can also make dumb jokes in it.
Yay!
Like here, these are Yakuza characters now, and Dojima's Joseph Joestar.
Yay!
Old Joseph Joestar, to be exact.
And Teddy is Inuyasha. I can't get over that.
That's a weird one.
That's a real weird one.
Also, unsurprisingly, there's a lot of people in Persona 4 that are also in Trails. But also that makes sense because there's like 1,000 characters in Trails, so they gotta have characters from somewhere.
Right. Oh man. That makes sense.
Yeah. Either way, this is a good episode.
I guess next year we could do like the Toradora Christmas episode.
Oh my god. There's a couple of Toradora Christmas episodes?
I think so, but I don't remember. It's been a hot minute since I watched that.
Yeah, that's for true. What's your favorite anime?
I mean, it's not the worst anime I've ever watched in my life.
But yeah, that is Persona 4 the Animations episode, whatever episode this is 8. Oh.
Before we leave.
Before we head out the door.
This sure is an A1 production.
Yep.
Oh.
So these are obviously the broadcast versions that we watched. These are not the nice versions that were cleaned up for the Blu-rays. But yeah, this series in particular was rough when it first aired.
Yep.
That is it's an A1 Pictures hallmark, especially during this time period.
Whew. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Some good faces in this episode.
Some really good faces.
Oh man. But yeah,
Love the pouting Yukiko face at one point. She just looks like a grumpy old man.
Or her just like staring at the pot, just like stone faced.
Anyway, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. If you have yet to watch this episode, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's very dumb and very good.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that's gonna wrap up our episode. A little bit of a shorter episode than normal, but it's the holidays.
Yeah.
We can't take up all your time. I mean, we could, but
that would be mean.
That would be mean. We also have other stuff to do, so.
Yes.
We have our own Christmases to do.
Christmas.
Either way. If you would like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared Now Watch. And also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, a critical analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza. Get access to bonus episodes, a whole wealth of those, and unedited versions of the podcast early. I mean, if you were on the Patreon, you could have got this episode a whole week early.
Whole week. It wouldn't have been Christmas for you.
No. Sadly. But next week, it's time to kick off 2022.
Mm-hmm.
With the first episode of the year on New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's time to look back at 2021 and crown a game of the year.
Yay!
I guess 2 games of the year. Maybe one, maybe a singular, maybe 2. I don't know. Either way, next week will be our annual Game of the Year Awards ceremony.
Yay! Yay!
What games will grace the top 7 and top 10 lists? I'm assuming you're doing 7 again this year.
I am doing 7, yes.
Okay. What supplemental awards will we give out? And of course, who will be the second inductee to the Seasonal Anime Checkup Hall of Fame?
Ooh.
You'll have to find all that out and more next week.